Hi guys, welcome to lesson 12.4, Box and Whisker Plots. Our objective for this lesson is that I can make and interpret box and whisker plots and that I can find percentiles and quartiles. So, first off, what is a quartile? They are values that divide data sets into 4 equal parts. If the data set has an odd number of entries, the median is not included when finding quartiles. Now the interquartile range is the difference between the first and the third quartile. So it's the middle 50% of a graph or of a data set. A box and whisker plot is a graph that summarizes a set of data by displaying it along a number line. Percentiles separate data into data sets into 100 equal parts, and percentile rank is the percentage of values that are less than or equal to that value. So separating data into subsets is a useful way to summarize and compare data sets. So we have our example here of what a box or a summary of a data set looks like. So the first thing we do is you'll notice it's in numerical order, least to greatest. And then we start breaking it up. First of all, the median, we remember from yesterday's lesson, is our middle number. Once we have that established, now we can look at our, well, we've got our min and our max. Those are the three easy points to find. Now we find the quartile. So the quartile is going to be the midway point of the first half, and the third quartile is the midway point of the second half. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 data points in this. So remember when I said if we have an odd number of entries, the median is not included. So we're going to look at finding our quartile just from this, and it's the median of this half. So let's take a look at problem A, and we are going to first put these numbers in numerical order. So we start off, we have 60, 65, 75, 75, 75, 85, 85, 85, 95, 100, and 105. Okay, so how many entries do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 data points. So our median is going to be the one in the middle. So we just do what Mazirzo did yesterday. Move our way in, move our way in, move our way in, move our way in. This is our median. Okay, so we also know our min and our max. So now we need to identify that first quartile and third quartile. So the first quartile we said was the midway point. Now, odd number of entries, so the median doesn't count. So we're just going to look at this half of our data. And we find our midpoint of this half of the data. So our midpoint is going to be 75. So quartile 1 is 75. So if we look at, exclude the median, we look at the top half of our data, quartile 3 is 95. It's the median of this section. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at letter B. Smaller data set. So we have 5, 7, 11, 19, 21, and 53. Well, we call that 53 an outlier because it is well outside the rest of it. All right, let's look. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. So we're going to have to find a median, which is going to be right in the middle here. So to find the median, add those two together and divide by 2. And it's 30 divided by 2 is 15. So this is the median. we know our min, we know our max. So, top half of the data. What is my midpoint of this section? It's going to be 21. That'll be your third quartile. Bottom half of the data, what is the midpoint? It's going to be 7, so that's quartile 1. Okay, and you can list that the median is your second quartile, but you don't need to. It's kind of redundant. Okay, now I want you guys to try letter C on your own, and then I'm going to walk you through it. So we separated out. We have our data. We have 12, 15, 19, 20, 26, 27, 33, and 40. So, first of all, min, max. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data points, so our median is going to be in between two numbers here. So 20 plus 26 is 46, divided by 2 is 23. So our median is 23. So now looking at the bottom half of the data, our median, again, we're going to have to find an average, and we're going to average 15 and 19. So 15 plus 19 divided by 2 is going to give us 17. And that's going to be our first quartile. Okay? Now we're going to have to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to have to average 27 and 33 to get our third quartile, and that's going to be 30. Sorry for flipping where I wrote those two numbers. Okay? All right, moving on to our next problem. So a box and whisker plot just summarizes those two steps. All right, so, or those steps. It's a graph that summarizes data by displaying it along a number line. It consists of 3 parts, a box and 2 whiskers. Here's the box, here's the 2 whiskers. The 2 whiskers take us out from quartile 3 to the max and quartile 1 to the min. And the box is going to show us our interquartile range. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a number line. Actually, no, first we're going to put these in order. So we have 4, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 25, and 34. So, 4, and I'm going to go by 2s, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. Okay. So, now I need to start figuring some things out. So what is my median? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data points. So the median is going to be halfway between 14 and 15. So that'll be 14.5. So we're going to put a point. See, 12, 14, 14.5. We'll put a decimal point right there. And that's my median. We're going to put a point at 34, because that's my max. We're going to put a point at 4, because that's my min. Now I need to find my 2 interquartile, or my 2 quartiles. So the midpoint of that half of the data is going to be between 8 and 9, so 8.5. So it'll be right about here. That's quartile 1. And the midpoint of the top of my data is going to be right here between 16 and 25, and that's going to be right at 20.5. Okay, so that'll be right about there. So now we draw in our box, and we draw in our 2 whiskers. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to try letter B on your own, and then I'll go over it. So you're going to start by putting these times in numerical order. So we have 30, 32, 33, 34, 34 again, 35, 36, 38, and 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our median is going to be 34. And so now, remember, odd numbers, we don't count that in our quartiles. So we have 34, 36, 38, so halfway between here. So 37 is going to be the 3rd quartile. Halfway between here, 31 or 32.5 is that quartile. All right, so now we just need to make our line. So for this one, I'm going to go by ones. So 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 36, 38, and I need a 40. Sorry. 39. There we go. That'll be 40. Okay. It's like it never even happened. All right. So now I need to put some data points on here. So my min is at 30. My max is at 40. My median was 34. Quartile 1 is 32.5, so out there. And quartile 3 was at 37. So right there. So we make our box and our 2 whiskers, and there we go. Min, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, max. Okay. All right. Next section we are looking at is interpreting box and whisker plots. So using the box and whisker plot below, what do the interquartile ranges tell you about the average monthly rainfall for each city? So we've got Miami and Nolens. Now, let's take a look at these interquartile. Remember, this was the middle 50% of the data on these 2 cities. So we could say there is a lot more variability in the amount of rain in Miami than there is in New Orleans. Okay, because the middle 50% of that data is pretty tightly packed in there between 5 and 6 inches. So that means the majority of the months are between 5 and 6 inches of rain. However, the middle 50% in Miami is between 2.5 and 7.25 inches. So that's a pretty large range of average rainfalls. What do the medians tell you about the average monthly rainfall in New Orleans and Miami? Well, there's more on average in New Orleans. Now let's think about both of these cities. Their average monthly rainfalls, what do they both have to deal with? They both have to deal with hurricanes. So you could have one season be drastically different than the other. Miami probably sees more tropical activity than New Orleans does, so it has that bigger range of what it could be. New Orleans is probably a more consistent amount of rainfall that it gets, but yeah. Okay, so letter C, using the box and whisker plot below, what species of snake has the greater range in average length? It's going to be species A, and we can see it has overall, its range is bigger. Okay, what species has a greater interquartile range? So that middle 50%, well, that's going to be species B. Okay. All right, moving on. Last problem for today is finding a percentile rank. And remember, this was how many are at that level and below. All right, so out of 25 test scores, there are 15 scores less than or equal to 85. What is the percentile rank of a score of 85? So if there are 15 or less at that place or at that point, out of a possible 25 tests, that fraction reduces to 3/5 or the 60th percentile. Okay. Of 40 students, 9 are taller than 5'10". What is the percentile rank of a height of 5'10"? So if there's 9 that are taller than 5'10", we need to figure out how many are shorter than 5'10". So 40 minus 9 is equal to 31, shorter than 5'10". So now it's 31 out of 40 that we're looking at, which is going to give us 77.5%. So it's the 77.5 percentile. Okay, 77.5 people are less than or equal to 5'10". Okay. Make sure you fill out your level of understanding for this lesson. Write down any questions or confusions you may have come up with, and then also make sure you write your summary of what we did today. Have a great night. See you in class.